Hello, viewers. Welcome back to another episode of the Semiconductor Podcast. Today, we have our guest, Mabi Nadaf. He is a dynamic semiconductor career growth strategist, founder and director of GIICT and Anadiwave Semiconductor, and a seasoned analog IC design consultant with over a decade of experience in the VLSI industry. With strong foundation in analog, PMIC, and AI chip design, Mabi has empowered over 20 global clients and hundreds of aspiring engineers through hands-on workshops, career strategy sessions, and impactful talks. His sessions are more than technical, they are motivational roadmaps that bridge the academic industry divide, focusing on real world design skills, internship readiness, and placement support. A passionate educator and industry speaker, Mabi Nadaf is building a future where the young engineers can thrive, innovate, and lead the global semiconductor landscape. So, over to you, Mabi.
Hey Mridul, thank you so much for invite, and you guys are doing amazing in this podcast. So that inspired, and thanks for inviting here. And yes, as you told, this has been my passion to educate people. So that's the reason I'm here. So when it comes to semiconductor industry, why it is so much important now, never before, right? That's what it makes more sense for educating more people, and I can talk a lot about analog IC design over this podcast, and any doubts people have, right? So we'll see how it goes ahead. Over to you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Mavi. And uh, I'm connected to Mavi or watching Mavi over the LinkedIn for a couple of times, and he's very energetic person, and we are glad to have you today, Mavi. So the first question towards you in the podcast session is that what inspired your journey into the analog IC design and semiconductors? In the same context, can you share how your journey through analog devices, GlobalFoundries, and SanDisk shaped and reshaped your outlook?
Great. So, what inspired me to get into semiconductor industry, that especially analog IC design? I have to share a little bit my background. So, I came from very humble family. My father was a farmer, and it's a village kind of situation, and nobody know what is semiconductor. I am the first engineer from my village. So, since I did all my schooling, colleges, everything free of cost, but when after my masters, I was searching during my master, I was searching for domain which pays me very high packages, literally. Although I'm so passionate about electronics from the started my engineering, and I always searching for which is the domain which pays me high salaries. The reason is I wanted to come out of all the poverty of my family. So then I choose analog IC and RFIC as the most amazing domain. So they are evergreen domain back then in 2015, and it is by evergreen now, and it will be evergreen in next 10, 20 years also. So that's what made me to choose analog IC design. But nobody were ready to teach, train analog IC design, or there was no institute in analog IC design back 2015. Still there are very limited number of one or two institutes who teach analog IC design. So I learned hard way of analog IC design, and that's what inspired me. So when I was doing it, nobody were there to train. Why shouldn't I train when I'm expert now, when I've done my hands-on for last 10 years? So this is the journey for me to become analog IC design engineer. And most recently I work with analog devices. So what opportunity I got to work with analog devices was most cutting edge technology, 5 nanometer, and I was working on the reference block and all. Mostly, I am specialized in PMIC so far last 10 years, and it was amazing journey because we developed something product from the scratch, which it will come up soon. Then my most and versatile kind of job was in GlobalFoundries. So I was an analog application design engineer, and plus as a foundry, we are supposed to help the clients for their tape outs, and we have to take care everything. So there I got an opportunity to work with more than 20 to 25 clients, right? Even major clients like Motorola, right? Texas Instrument, Intel, Qualcomm, Renesas. So for these companies we used to help either to solve their design challenges, or even whenever they are stuck with the foundry related issues or tape out issues, and along with that we used to take care of IPs. That was really amazing 2 years I had in Global Foundries. And before then, I was in SanDisk. SanDisk, I was there for, I worked for SanDisk almost 2 to 3 years kind of thing. That's when I started from my journey from a block level to a top level in integration of the power management unit. And it was amazing. But I still appreciate my first company that was Asarva Chips and Technology. I joined as an intern, and we were designing. Joined as an intern, and then I got full time, and I did for 2 years. But Asarva Chips and Technology was the first product-based company where we were working on the 60 gigas Wi-Fi router back then, young 100 engineers, and we used to work for 10 to 15 hours to learn to implement. So that was amazing journey kind of thing. So the overall, to summarize, analog IC design is challenges me every day, and that's what makes me more motivated.
Great to hear your journey. Or since you are from the PMIC domain, I would say in a technical term. So you did a power up sequence in your analog career in a very interesting way.
Correct.
Yeah, those who understand the ICs, they will understand this kind of humor.
Yes, yes. Okay.
So great. So I'll move over to the next question. What motivated you to start the Anadiwave Semiconductor and GIICT? So your vision, mission, etc.
Okay. So, what's my vision? My vision is to show each and every aspiring semiconductor engineer, and it is possible. Show the true potential. The reason is I am not an IITN, right? I am not an NITN. I am coming from the tier 3 college, from coming from the village, right? Still, I could become an analog IC design engineer. Still, I could start my company, right? Over the last 10 years, coming from the humble family where I stand, right? So many students in rural India, right? They have the talent, only they don't believe in themselves. So when I see such kind of candidates, such kind of people, I tell why it is possible. When I have done it, you also can do it. So when hundreds of people have done it, you also can do it. So that's what inspired me. So my vision is to show a true potential to the aspiring semiconductor engineers. My mission is I am on the mission to transform 1 million semiconductor engineers to land their dream job and achieve the high paying income. So when they achieve high paying income, it's not only they get developed, so their family will change, their village will change. Obviously they are contributing to the India's GDP. That's what my vision and mission. That and To start the GICT, Global Institute of Integrated Circuit Technology, an institute where we train only specialized in analog domain, either it comes to design, layout, or AMS. So back then when I was learning, nobody were there to train, right? So it's not worth the I just did it in a short time, but I have been doing since 2015. I used to either teach, train on the weekend, either free, paid, right? Then I started as a side hustle, right? That's when I realized, okay, this is the time we can educate more people. So that inspired me to start the GICT Institute. And after GICT Institute, so Anadiwave Semiconductor, where Anna is stands for analog, Our Anadi is analog, which is, there is no beginning and there is no end. It is always remains in the nature, right? So Anadiwave Semiconductor, we take the projects from outside on the PMIC. We do a lot of project. We do IPs, and also after training we do a resource staffing where these people are day one productive in the industry. We give the best resources in the semiconductor analog IC design. So there is no ways that why I should start product based company, but this is a beginning as a service based resource staffing company.
Great, great. Another thing I would suggest, it will be a kind of sense of humor, that the way you started, the way you had your introduction. The real world is really analog. It's not digital.
Digital people will hear it.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why I said there will be a sense of humor. People can catch it. They will catch
Yes.
it. So your experience is that, as you said, you have given talks and trained, maybe free session, paid session, weekends, and all. So you gathered a lot of analog data, and that's why people should think in an analog way. People who are thinking in an analog way is very different from who are thinking in the digital way. Obviously, people who are digital and people who are in analog, or people who are in AMS domain, they can catch this humor. So
Yes.
with that note, yes, with that note, I'll move over to the next question. Is that how and when did you think to navigate from engineer to entrepreneur? Both are starts with E, but both have different impacts. So how you moved from engineer to the entrepreneur role?
Okay. Uh, although I started my entrepreneur interest back in 2015. So 2015, I think June we completed our masters. So that's when we three of my friends, classmates or MTech batchmates, we started a VLSA training institute back then called Vidvat Technologies in Karnataka, remote part of Karnataka. We wanted to go every district and educate people that okay, this is possible. But the limitation of the industry, that's what stopped me. Okay, this is not the time. Soon after my masters, so then I took time and I started working on my industry. I used to do this so many free sessions, free trainings, right? But even if you go and see my LinkedIn profile, I love to address the biggest challenges what aspiring engineers are facing. And mostly I give either a free resource and all, but students are not serious. So that inspired, okay, let's make this free training program to the paid training program. When I started I started an institute. From institute, when I started generating the income, then I thought, okay, this is the time for me to go behind what I really love to do it as an entrepreneur. I feel like I can do the better strategy planning along with the technical skills. That's the reason I started an entrepreneurship. And but journey is not easy. Journey is entirely different. People who are there, like you, Mridul, they can feel that as a design engineer, you have only one goal, and you are listening to your boss or you are listening to your company. So you're doing the few certain tasks what they are given. The moment you become an entrepreneur, right, the journey is different. First is you have a free mind to think whatever you want to think and whatever you want to implement, and you are going behind what you want in life, right? And you are working for yourself. So when you work for yourself, your motivation will be 2 times or maybe 3 times more, right? So
Yes,
that's what it inspires me every day.
there will be lot of adrenaline running through your veins
Yes.
when you are working for yourself. And I would like to add one line here.
Yes.
In an entrepreneurial journey, probably you are feeling, when actually I am communicating with you, I get
Mhm.
some of the, you can say, it's an image that is coming from you, that
Mhm.
when you do this, you have something that keeps you moving, kicking every minute, kicking every second.
Yes.
Lot of responsibilities, lot of opportunities. It's running through your veins.
Yes,
I
yes.
think.
It is true. It is true. What when I get up from the bed, what I start thinking, how can I make this today an amazing day, not only for me,
Yes.
for the students or people who believed in me and who are joined here. So that keeps, like, see example, few students are working in Nvidia, they are working in Qualcomm, Samsung, AMD, even in global. So when you see the result, right, that's what, okay, these people have transformed their life, right, I can do the remaining these people also.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. So another thing I would like to add, you just previously mentioned about the students are very skeptical, right? So even in recently in LinkedIn, I am writing about this, the colonial hangover. We have been um, in the British colonial, right? So there we in generation, not we actually, not we as a person, as a generation after generation, we have generated a disbelief that we can do something good, then something better, something best. So that disbelief actually nothing is holding us, but that colonial hangover is handed down from generation to generations. Plus, there is monetary restriction in many sectors of many Indian families. So that also keeps a tight thing for people and a tight choice. So when our channel started, there are a lot of viewers, and previously having this podcast live, I used to interact with the students in a live sessions.
mm,
So I observed also that many students, they were initially interested in VLSI, as I can see their DP in the channel subscriber list. Some of them went to like the airport authority jobs or like that, because there is still a financial pressure from the family within time limits. So there is a turnaround time even for a student to become a
mm.
job holder. So yeah,
See,
you can add,
this,
you can
this,
add.
see, just to have it the bullseye, I can say this is the one of the biggest challenge for either me, you, or every Indian. We feel that we have an identity challenge. We believe less in ourselves, although we are capable. Why the top CEOs of the top companies are Indians, right? So we believe in less in ourselves, but we are capable, right? So whatever you guys are doing in your channel, I really love that content. Truly, bottom of my heart, I really love that, because see, we need students need that one inspiration that it is possible. That's it. The colonial, how this belief system has changed, right? It has to change. We are, like, independent. Our identity has to change. The movement identity, it's not about the technical skills. It's not about the technical skill. It's about the mind which has to start from. And right,
The mindset, the mindset.
mindset. Yes. The first is a
Yes.
mindset, then the remaining technical skills, challenges, all will be taken care.
And with that belief, we started a top-down approach, which is inviting the founder, CEO, CXO people in that podcast, and a bottom-up approach. Also, we are highlighting students who are doing
Mm,
well through the webinar, the
great.
students webinar that is going on, so that at least
Mm,
we have to work on it might be a decade-long effort to get out of the colonial hangover that
it's
we
true.
have. It's very hard, but it's very need of the hour. When you are as a established person, when you are speaking today, and many students who are watching live or watching it later on as a replay, they will have a assurance, their belief system will start to change slowly, maybe bit by bit. Maybe today you are speaking, tomorrow someone speaking, and they are motivating these youngsters so that they are getting out of the disbeliefs, and it is very very much needed.
Yes,
Because
it is
as you
true.
said, you are from a very humble family. From my background also, I can come from a very humble family with a very very limited income of my father and mother. My father was a medical technologist, like the x-ray, etc., and my mother was a nurse. So lot of challenges were there monetarily. Even we had expectations we cannot fulfill. So
Mm,
the one thing you said, the highly paying job, that first, as a student, when I got a job in VLSI, the package was high. The limitation of my family, that I couldn't get a camera, a high-end camera that time. So as soon as I joined the job, I purchased a camera, and like that, the unfulfillment things that inside a person, as a person, it may be technical, it may be non-technical, or something the person want to do for his or her family. So that has to come. That has to come, and your voice today is spreading that energy. And since we are doing live, people are on more on belief that the person is real, person is in front of me, the person is speaking,
Yes.
instead of the curated podcast where something is edited. They will think, is it real or is it earlier? But the live podcast that we are holding, the reason is that people will see as is, as you were speaking. So students are listening carefully each and every podcast, and a response later on, once they're watching it critically, that doesn't mean they're critic, they're critical thinkers. They are thinking, they are watching, they are saying, amazing, this part of the podcast was amazing, that part of the pod. So different people are impacted by different words, different phrases, and case by case basis as per of
Yes.
their circumstantial situations. So that's how, that's why we have the podcast live. That is the very one thing reason that people see the real people, the real unsung heroes, not the movie heroes. They are overhyped and the CGI animation is there. No, real people, how they speak, how they inspire people. That is very much needed. So
Yes.
over to the next question, that what were some of the biggest risk you took head on as a challenge, and how did you shape your vision and mission?
Okay. Uh, I've been the risk taker to gain the bigger things in life. I never took even 1 rupee from my father to complete my even until engineering. I studied in Jawaharlal Navodaya Vidyalaya free of cost up to 12th standard, then engineering education loan, again masters either scholarship or education loan. So after masters, I had other 2 to 3 offers, right? But those all were in the software domain. So L&T, Cognizant. So these all are in the software domain. I have an option, right? I have to choose now. Although I am hungry, I am hungry in the sense my family is waiting for me soon after my masters, right? Or maybe every engineer can feel this. Soon after your engineering, your parents, your relatives, all these people will start asking, so when would you get job? What kind of job would you get? Right? So how much will be your package? These are the questions, right? And obviously you guys might have taken education loan. So many challenges, right? So that's the same challenge I had, right? But I had an option to choose now. Either whatever the package I got very good, like good package with the software. Either I go ahead with the software or wherever I'm placed, or I go behind what I want in life, that is analog IC design, right? So I joined an internship of 10,000 per month by rejecting my 6 to 8 lakh package in the software industry. So this is how the interest started. So but this persistence matters a lot when you are trying to enter into semiconductor industry, right? So
Yes, yes.
this is a big challenge I took. This is a big risk I took. If I have not decided that time taking the challenge, I wouldn't have been here, right? And so over the period, again my jobs went on. Then I traveled across the whole India by road. So even that was a big challenge for me, but I took it. Again, after quitting my high paying job, so right, then I started my startup company. I'm doing this institute. This is also a big risk. Many 90% or 95% of the people are not ready to take, right? So what I'm trying to convey for the people who are in this journey, you are supposed to make a decision now in your career after your degree, or you are still in the degree. Choose something which is tougher, cannot be easily replaced, and something which you love from your heart. You give it all, everything what it takes, right? So either you get success, if not you will become better in that domain. That's what it meant. And like always a high risk taker and high rewarding kind of person I am.
Yes, about defining the risk. Many people who are outside the industry, so
Mm.
they do not understand the risk. The risk is not like it a life risk, but calculated risk. That if I do that within this time, this will happen. So people must go for that calculated risk, as you have said, right? As you have said that 6 to 8 lakh package you have choose not chosen, and you have chosen the internship, right? Um, for the 10,000 per month. It's a hard decision
So
to make.
so
Yeah.
when just to add up, when I told you that calculated risk, right? So I always saw this as a long run kind of thing. So in long run, what is best for me, right? So in short run, getting into some company, getting this package, okay, it is good, but it's only for short duration. And moreover, all these things, but am I loving it? The
Yes.
first is first me. If I'm loving it, I love these challenges, I'm so passionate about it. Second thing comes like what I decide is like how what is best for me in long run, right?
Yes, correct, correct. Because this vision, right? Every person is according to his height of knowledge. I am saying the height means height of knowledge. They have their different horizons. That means
Mm.
the more you have knowledge, the general knowledge I'm talking about, your vision and the horizon both are extending. So again, I will emphasize here that the podcast is here where, as a senior person, very very senior person, when you are speaking all this will help the youngsters who are might be in the degree, they are maybe watching live, maybe watching the replay. That will help them to achieve a more knowledge height, so that their vision and the horizon are spreading in more long distance. So that is what you are doing right now. As we are in a conversation, the real experience of a real people is helping the next generation to have a much more broader vision in the horizon.
Yes, it's true.
So I'll go to the next question. Is that how a fresher can identify that he or she is suitable for the analog design domain instead of a digital design domain? Why I'm saying this? Because once you are in college, right, you will have Verilog, VHDL. First, you have a biasness, right? So you are biased to the Verilog and system Verilog, not system Verilog, Verilog or
Mm.
VHDL. So you get biased about the digital design domain, and there are very less thing in spice or analog. So how a student should make the decision line?
Yes. First of all, there are 80% of digital design engineer, 10 to 20% as analog design engineer. And compared to that, even opportunity, 70% of the digital verification happens in India, in the globe, right? And in the analog industry, and the 20% of the design happens in India, right? So when you guys know that there is a opportunities are there, so before that compared to that, and now there are a lot of opportunities are there, for countable number of analog designers are there. So I read in an article that here they are telling 125 analog design engineers are there, and in the RFIC design there are 1000 RFIC design engineers in the globe. So these why this countable number of people are there? Because this domain is challenging, right? So this is for the people who loves challenges, this is for the people who are creative thinkers and critical thinkers, right? And who are persistent, are an artist who's ready to see this schematic into the silicon, right? So this is what like analog, but I don't differentiate between the analog or digital or any semiconductor engineer. It is equivalent, but what is best for you is the first question, right? How to identify? So whenever the student comes, either they're doing degree and all, I'll ask what are your top 4 subjects in your masters, because sorry, in bachelor's, in each semester, even though if you lab plus theory, we might end up studying at least 10 subjects per semester. So total 8 semester we will study 80 subjects, correct? In 80 subjects, which are your top 4 subjects that you love to do it? Then they will answer, okay sir, this is network theory, I love it. Analog circuits, I love it. Analog communication, I love it. Analog IC design, I love it. So then this is your domain. So if you could answer the same thing, if you love the digital things, right, then this is digital. If you love the DSP things, it's like love the communication. So you can ask yourself first question, what are the 4 subjects that you love to do it, correct? First, after you knowing the subjects which you love, right, just do a small research whether this these subjects has the demand in the market right now and next 10 years. So if you don't do the if you do the something which is not in demand, you will feel the less motivated over the time. If you feel that something is more demand, and your contribution will keep on increasing, right? So how to choose between the analog and digital, it is totally depends on you. So I always encourage anybody who comes in any domain, but based on these challenges, right, based on he loves what to do, is the best thing. And one more thing in the industry, I'm telling you, you'll get bored of all these things in next 5 years or 10 years, right? You might, if you're designing same thing, right, same power management or same bgr, same ldo, right? So how long will you do that one? But you want something now. I want to design pll, I want to design adc, right? I want to design something in the finfet 2 nanometer, 5 nanometer. So change is the new constant, there's nothing that. So if you feel bored of analog, you learn digital. If you feel bored of digital, you start learning analog. If you feel bored of validation, you start learning something you love to do it in analog. So these all are possible, right, guys? You might be we might be talking the target audience around the who are in the degree to maybe, right, 20 to 30 in range, right? And you guys have
Yes.
30 years of career ahead, or minimum 30 to 35 years, right? So you
Yes.
can explore anything in the surface level first, then once you explore, right, the best way we can go in depth, like a T kind of shape, to get the deeper knowledge. But again, not joke of all, become a master of one domain.
Yes. Yes, I completely agree with your vision here. So we'll move on to the next question, that what the young graduates lack before they can enter into the analog design domain. That means where
Mm,
they have to polish themselves, or they have to have some knowledge. So can you share some lights?
sure. The young aspiring analog design engineers, they lag. One is truly hands-on. Right. So why hands-on, right? And I'll tell you why hands-on matters a lot. Uh, One reason that if you want to become a better in anything, when you do that with your hands, right, with your, like, presence, that's when you start learning in a deeper way, right? So until you do hands-on, but just you learn again, you unlearn, learn, unlearn. So it's a quite, cycling. You will want to learn it again, you will unlearn over the period of time. So if you want to become analog design engineer, start doing either it a small circuit, bigger circuit, anything on your tools. It's not like mandatory you must do in Cadence or Chiso, a Synopsys, any tool available. So whatever the LT Spice or free tools available, you start exploring a small circuit. That's when your interest will start developing. But although you are doing all this, hands-on, but you should not forget your fundamentals. I still value 70 to 80% importance to fundamentals, because that because of those fundamentals only you will be able to create. Even though AI comes, right? To using the AI, if you want to create something new in the analog or semiconductor, you need your strong fundamentals, right? Now, my answer for you, how to make these fundamentals even stronger, right? So to make your fundamentals stronger, solve more problems, take out 10 problems every day, or like 5 problems every day, keep solving it in this domain. And to make your practical implementation more stronger, to get the opportunity faster, to get the internship faster, do something hands on, right? So that is more important, to learn, and to become master in one domain.
Yeah, good. A lot of good informations for the young folks, because they have a lot of energy,
Hmm.
and they has to channelize their energy. You have given them a couple of seed thoughts they can implement in their greenery in their mind, so that they can cultivate and grow crops. Obviously educational crops, not the physical crops. So I'll move on to the next question, that how do you ensure engineers are day one ready? What are the challenges here and solution you suggest?
So engineers to be day one ready, it's mostly it's impossible, or like it takes time. The reason is every engineer you see are in the LinkedIn, right? Once they were all a freshers, and once they all used to be struggling, right? So when we start acquiring the skills, it takes time. So the difference between the college academics and the industry expectation is so different, right? Because industry keep on implementing, keep on investing in R&D because they get the ROA faster. But what about the colleges? Colleges never get the proper ROI for the investments. So college will teach you the basic education. This is my belief. College will teach you only basic education. So you should be good in all these electronic subjects, right? So your degree will complete with this much. Now, to meet this industry expectation, you must learn something which the industry wanted. So how you learn it is different, but you must learn what the industry wanted. Either you learn during the college by becoming smart, or becoming interacting with your seniors, mentors, teachers, right? Who knows these things? Or you come out of the college, then put all the effort for next 4 to 6 months to learn the skills required in the industry. Now, when it comes to analog IC design, how we make students day one productive, right? And we go to the industry and we ask what is their requirement. So in the next 6 month kind of situation, right? So they will give, okay, these are the blocks we are looking for. This is the technology we are looking for. This is the knowledge we are looking for. So based on those kind of projects, so we train these people, right? We train these people in such a way, in depth, how the industry people want it. Example, if I take one block, right? If I'm designing the BGR, LDO, simple blocks, so from the specification, how can you derive an architecture? You should have a system level thinking, right? So from the once you have the system level thinking, how can you break this one into smaller circuit and analyze in the small signal analysis, do a hand calculation, right? Once you have this hand calculation, so you start implementing in the tools. Or else what happens, suddenly you jump into the tool, you take some W by L ratio, it won't help you. So once you implement your hand calculated things in the tool, you will appreciate, okay, whatever I have designed, it might be using the Razavi book, which is a second order equation. But what tool is giving maybe a 10th order equation. So there's a lot of difference between what you design and what you try to simulate it. Right? So in these simulations, when you do A to Z simulation, how the industry want it, right? So that's when you become more productive. So if we train students by asking the industry what the industry wanted, they then they can become the day one productive.
Yes, that is very much need of the hour for the students who are aspiring for the analog domain. And again, I will say there is a biasness about the digital domain, and you are here to break that biasness, and more students will be inspired towards the analog domain. So I'll move on to the next question. That it's a global question. You can ask. You can say that. What is missing in Indian analog design domain if we compare with respect to US, UK, that is Europe, or Malaysia, that is the East. So if we do a global comparison, what we are missing in Indian domain or Indian subcontinent?
Yeah, this is true. Many either Europeans or Americans, they tell we don't believe in either RFIC designers or analog IC designers who are coming from India, and it is true. So why they tell in that way? See, most of the 90% of the specifications are derived from the other countries. The reason is we till now we didn't have the fab. When we don't have the fab, we don't have the product. When we don't have the product, we don't derive the specifications. So once they derive the specification, they do the first cutting edge designs most of the time, right?
Mm.
So this is what happening. I told you 20% of the design still happens in India, right? Top designers are either even Indians, but when they are deriving the specification, they get an opportunity more to start the design from the scratch. So when they start the design from the scratch, they become the better designers over the time. I agree for that. And what are we getting as a fabless companies? What are we getting as a fabless companies? The more of a redesign work, right? More of a porting work, more of a simulation works, right? Because we are not designing, we are not deriving the specifications. If we have derived the specification, we would have started the first cut design. It's not that we are bad designers, right? So it is about the opportunity what we are getting, right? I told you 70% of the verification works happens in India, either physical verification, digital verification, or even analog verification. And second one, why, according to me, why the other country globally, they don't outsource the design work, and why they outsource the verification work, right? So every one design engineer, right, they required a 3 to 4 verification engineers, and that resource available in India is very much. We have a huge talent pool, and also for every one engineer they pay, they can afford here 4 to 6 engineers. Also, second one is a cost cutting. So these all are strategically, if I say, it's not about that design engineers are bad in India. It is about opportunity what we got is a different one, right? Still, if you go to the any other Europe or US, still I agree top engineers would be coming from India. And one difference I agree on this. One difference I see, how they think critically is much difference between different in India. We don't ask much questions. They ask much questions. They ask every time why. Second one, they don't agree immediately when somebody tells, right? Then they question it. Why? Again, it comes to the root cause what you told me in the beginning, colonial, right?
Yes.
Belief system. If I believe more in myself, then I'll be so confident in every part of my life, not only in my just personal life, in every part of my life,
Yes. Yes.
right? So that's what makes the difference. What one suggestion, if I can give, or how we should change as a design engineers, start asking question why. The
Explorative questions.
yes, yes,
Great suggestion. I think the young guys who are listening to Mabi right now, they have to change their think pattern in a manner so that they are asking questions. Obviously, their questions should be very critical. That means and explorative, not the binary question, which actually ends with yes or no or one or zero. Not like that. Explorative question. What Mabi wants to convey, that you ask questions why, and
and
sometime back to back why. If you ask, right, you go to the root cause, what Mavi just
yes,
mentioned.
yes. To add up, so who are the top CEOs of Microsoft, Google, right? If you are more giant software companies are coming from India. The only
Yes.
reason is, when did the software thing started in India? Back in 2000. It took 20 years to master in the software, so they are now in the top position. We just
Yes.
started the semiconductor industry, and to consider in the semiconductor industry, who are the top CEOs right now in the semiconductor industry are coming from either Taiwan, coming from China, or this Asian, where they got more opportunity last 20 to 30 years.
Yes. Yes.
This is the difference.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I would like to add one point, Mabi. I have brought ET10, who was from Malaysia and who was architect of the change that happened in Malaysia uh,
Mm,
after their independence, I think around 57 or so. And
mm,
Malaysia has grown up to a huge potential from their natural resources to the human resources. Because every country has two kind of resources. One is the
yes,
natural resources, the coal, the gas, the plants, everything. Another is the human resources. And India has been a very service oriented country, whether it is a software or whether it is our hardware or the VLSI analog or digital. So the perspective when I joined the industry way back in 2010, that time the perspective was mostly towards the verification side, to validate things, We need more verification engineers. We need validation. Now, as we are having the scenario changing by the Indian Semiconductor Mission, that we will be having fabs. Obviously, nothing. There is a famous quote: "Rome was not built in a day."
Yes.
Yes, so the thing will not be ready immediately as you are expected, and that's a bad habit. Generally, the youngster get from the uh, ordering apps like Zomato or Swiggy, the 10-minute delivery app. Life doesn't help you in a 10-minute delivery. First of all, the things take time to get evolved, takes time to change, take time to shape up. So today, who are maybe reading in school, maybe 10th or 12th, by that time they will be completing their colleges, there will be lot of openings will be that. And the podcast right now that we are having right now in our channel is for those audiences who might see it later on.
Yes.
However, there is a lot of distraction today because of the reels on etc that the youngsters are getting hooked into as they have their in 2 GB internet per day. But I'll suggest you guys to at least to listen to the persons who are having and spending their time towards you, and they are guiding you, because the industrial guidance is very very different from the academic guidance. Academics help you to prepare your base, like you are building a house, you are building its base over the soil, right? And to construct the house, that is the industrial guidance that we are having from multiple guests, including Mabi we are having today. The guidance that helps you to construct a house, to architect the house. The house is nothing but your career, as well as it will contribute to the country as you are growing. So over last 10 years, we had only the verification and the service oriented mindset. From that, we are changing to the design oriented mindset that is done by the DLI and etc. That is the design link incentive and all. So we are slowly changing towards the design and creative side of us, which we do have, because we are very very much creative. And one thing more I would like to say, I lived in northern part of India, and there is something called jugaad. What this word jugaad means, that even at work we have to perform something, we have some hacks. And the two words in English, that is hacks, in Hindi, the northern part of India, they say jugaad. So in India, when people are designing, I'm not saying you are going off the book or off the proper skill set. I'm saying you remain within the skill set. You do things that can innovate. So spend your young mind, your energy for the innovation. You are getting a lot of good advice from our guests today. Mabi is there. He is guiding you in the analog side. How you think in that direction, what help you to change. So please spend some time over this podcast and do the right use of your 2 GB internet per day. Watching. Yeah. So the justification is there. So you can tell your papa that, Papa, I am having the 2 GB internet and I'm not spending on reels. I'm spending on the Semiconductor Podcast, where the real life heroes are coming. So they are sharing their journey, their difficulties, their visions. So that must be transferred to the mind, and the digital technology is there. And right now we are having our conversation with a digital technology that is getting broadcasted over the internet, and the technology is helping the technology to grow through the human resources. So with that note, I'll move on to the next question, that what are the key challenges in bridging the industry academia gap? What do you think, Mavi, here?
uh, in bridging the industry and academia gap, maybe I can divide this question into two: in perspective of the candidates and in perspective of the institutes, like in colleges. When I first, let me talk about the colleges. I told you why colleges are not able to match the skills required in the industry. One major reason I told you, the lot of investment happens in the companies because they have ROI, and the college doesn't have the ROI. Second most comes right now, the college, whatever. Hello, am I there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure,
Yeah.
you're there.
So colleges, what they are doing, right? College professors, teachers, resource staff, right? Do they have a industry skills? This is the one major question I always ask. So does college as a industry resources? If when they don't have the industry resource, right? How could the students get it? Although nowadays Indian government has given lot of incentives for the colleges, for the free tools, free resources, everything, but the people who are training that also required. So if at all college is trying to do right, go to the industry, ask the requirement, get the industry resource people. So best way, one suggestion is your alumni. Your alumni are the best resource you can always ask, who are there in the industry. They will be willing to come back, and because they will be so successful in the semiconductor industry, they will be willing to come back and help the institutes, like colleges. So this is the best way. One initiative college should start is start interacting with all your alumni and start asking what alumni, what the companies are required, right? So if they can contribute somehow. Okay, now this is how they can bridge the gap between the academia and this one. And second one is the student part. What students are entitled, right? Okay, I have given money to my college, like I have paid so much fees for college, right? So college is supposed to give everything, right? So this won't happen, right? So even though college is trying to give, are you ready, right? Or the students are ready? No. So when they can learn anything in 4 to 6 months and become a in the training institutes, and become a design engineer, very good design engineers, why can't they do it in over the period of 4 months, 4 years? The one reason is they are not ready. Even though if they are ready, there is no proper roadmap. Even though there is a proper roadmap, there is no proper resources. But if any youngster or a student decide in this era of internet, in this era of information, in this era of digital, do you think anything is impossible? So in this world, I can't say now that I don't know. I can't say literally, Mridul, I'm saying I can't say that I don't know. The only
Yes,
thing is I have to put the comma and ask question: how can I know this? How can I solve this? How can I learn this? Then you get 10 multiple options how to learn it.
yes,
So when we are dealing with the digital stuff, there is a challenge. I know youngsters are facing, even not only youngsters, many even sometimes we get caught up with the digital stuffs, right?
yes,
We
yes,
get caught up. It's not that only those people get. It is true, but how do you prioritize?
yes,
When you
yes,
set the goal that you want to do this one, then you start prioritizing. Because I'll tell you a small example. When we start watching something, when any people start watching, right? So whenever students come here, I tell first of all there is no mobiles allowed, right? The moment they're allowed, right, then they start watching something in the YouTube or Insta, anything. Now these guys don't want to do it, but still they are doing it. The reason is now the competitor is the person who is developing it. Who are the people who are designing the YouTubes? Who are the people who are designing all these social media? These are the top minds in the world who are sitting in the top companies and they are designing it. We
yes,
sitting in the rural part of in India, right? We have to beat their mindset. We have to beat their patterns, which is not possible,
yeah,
right? So that's the
yeah,
reason we go with the short dopamine, right? Like instant gratification rather than
yes,
thinking the longer run. So students, you guys are capable, right? It is possible. Only thing is start prioritizing. And when you guys are in the academic, either when you comes in the especially third year, that's when you should start speaking at least 5 to 10 people who are there in the industry. Start with your seniors. They are the best people because they were there in the same college where you are. They have studied the same under the same lectures what you guys are studying. They're mostly studying the same syllabus what you are studying. So if they can do it, why can't you do it?
Perfect.
So start interacting with your seniors, either maybe 5 to 10 people you must speak when you are in the third year. You get lot of information. Listen to all 10 people, then you take the decision, right? So once they tell, okay, this is the industry gap, this is what we are doing, this is what the college teach, then you get some gap, skill gap, right? Now this skill gap, how you learn, it's up to you. Either you learn online, you learn offline, you interact with your professor to learn it, you get a external mentor, you join the training institute, it's up to you. First you get the roadmap, you get the skill gap, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
This planning is more important. I told you, I have not taken even 1 rupee from when I studied until my masters, because I used to plan everything. Even my day starts with planning. I get up at 5 o'clock, and 6 to 7 I sit and plan it. The more you plan it, the easier it becomes.
Yes.
Spend more time in planning. Once you decide it, then you start executing. I always believe
Great.
in this: dream, determine, and dedicate.
Great. Great.
Hope I
Uh,
answered.
yeah, yeah. You answered, and you have given I think, a fabulous suggestion to the colleges. I would like to rephrase it in my own words.
Please.
Any principal or dean hearing right now to our conversation, there is a suggestion that Mabi has suggested, that call your alumni who are in the industry, because they are real in flesh and blood. Have a meet with them, with your existing batch of students, so that they can speak. And obviously, the youngsters have a lot of curiosity, so they will come up with question. Don't worry about the session timings. And obviously, those alumni will be giving their horizon. They will be transferring their horizon through words to the next generations. I'm not talking about the biological generation, I'm talking about the educational generations. So there is a subtle difference, because when we talk about generation, we think our papa, and then our child. No, not that. There are educational generations that is happening every year. The next generation, the next generation, and this is faster than actually a family generation. As a human generation, if we think of education generation, they are going in a different way. And now the generation is termed as Gen Z, and I call myself, according to that chart, a millennial. So yeah, so there is a
Same.
scale. I wrote a short article on that on LinkedIn, that how to identify different zone of people according to the timelines. And there is a band of timeline when people have different mindset. So uh, I'm a millennial, and right now the Gen Z are watching, and uh, I think you got your cup of tea from Mabi, that you should, if you are in contact, you should bug your alumni. That is a very, very, very important, and very important suggestion that Mabi has given. I'll move over to the next question, that why do you think analog design is often overlooked and digital design is overhyped?
Yeah. One simple reason is, if I invest time, energy, money, where would I get my return of investment? That is digital. The reason is digital is easy to learn, right? So since digital is easy to learn, so that's the reason college has been promoting, engineering syllabus has been promoting since from the last 10 years, right? One reason is it's easy to get a job. So I told you, the 80% are digital domain people are there. Only hardly 10-20 people are analog domain. And
Yes.
to study digital, it's again, as you told, right? One or zero is too, like, very easy. So either it simplifies my learnings. I have to study one subject, that is digital design. But the moment when it comes to analog design, right, it's nothing between one or zero. You have the complexity, you have the non-linearity, you have the noise, right, and stability issues. So you have to study like multiple subjects along with the core analog IC design. You have to study a control system, you have to study a network theory, it's all the circuit theories and signals and system, Laplace transform, right? So the reason you have to study multiple subject to just one domain, right? That's when the complexity increases.
Yes.
And the reason of, again, to learn this complexity of analog IC design, it takes time, right? Something as you told, Rome was not built in a day, but I rephrase it, but Rome is built every day, right?
Yes. Yes.
The same way, if you're ready to spend more time on this, if you're ready to study every day 2 hours in analog IC, I always tell any aspiring design engineers here. This was suggested by one of my senior when I started my study every day analog IC design for 2 hours. In 1 year, you become the best analog IC designer, right? So to coming to your question, one, return of investment in digital is easy, and learning is easy, right? Again, after learning and once they enter the job, right? So and doing the job of digital is also repetitive, and it is easy. But when it comes to analog, it's everyday challenging.
Yes.
It requires your energy level 10 out of 10 every day, right? And it requires your creative thinking, right? After doing everything, when it comes to silicon, still you end up, you end up getting, difficulties. So but I think, Mrudul, you can relate this, there might
Yes.
be
Yes.
no
Yes.
there might be no chip failure because of digital failure. There will be chip fails because of the analog failures in the silicon, right? Although
Yes. Yes.
digital controls the analog, but
Yes.
the complexity, or maybe heart of every circuit is analog or
Yes.
RFIC,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Even
Even
including the
digital,
AI.
yes, I would like to add few lines to your words to convey the message for the young generations. uh, when you design the circuit in digital, it have the schematic, and then it has the RTL, right? So RTL goes transform into the layout using the standard cells and other IPs, and then that layout is goes through a lot of processes in the PNR and the physical verification process. Then actually it is translated up to the transistor and the FUL, BUL, and the MUL layers. All are actually analog. When they are conducting the electricity, when they are playing with the electrons, it's absolute analog. Obviously, not the intent of the circuit, but the way the electron is roaming around inside the entire silicon is analog phenomenon. And that time something called HCI, NBTI, sometimes there will be electromigration, they will hurt your IC, and these are really analog phenomenon. They are not digital thing, they are not ones and zeros. So even though a digital circuit is there, and it will be livable by the analog properties. So that's how I resonated with Mabi here.
It's true, exactly.
So Mabi, we got our first question, but we will go through the question in the last 10 minutes of the
Sure.
viewers. So I will ask viewers to stay tuned till the end, and at the end we will answer the question. The next question towards you: what is the policy or ecosystem changes would you advocate to boost analog R&D in India, starting from research institute and ending up to the industry? What advocacy would you like to propose?
uh, I think I am not at this stage to suggest on this, but still I would like to put few words. I attended a conference in ISA Bangalore. So one of the speaker, he told us, right, in India, every in other countries, or maybe US, if I take, every 1500 people there is one research scientist. Every 1500 people there is one research scientist. That much of implementations are like in R&Ds or PhDs are there in other countries. It's not like they are, it is self sponsored, it's all are government sponsors. right? So in India, it's not every 1500. It may be not even 1,50,000, 1,50,000 to even one R&D scientists are there in India, right? So when it comes to R&D, right, and it should be a sponsored R&D or PhDs possible. Reason is, by the time I start my PhD, how old I will be? I will be minimum 25, 26, right? By do my engineering, then I do my masters. So 24, I start my PhD by 25, 26, right? By 25, 26, what is the expectation from the Indian family? What is the expectation from our financial challenges? All will start hitting, right? Now I can't afford the PhD or R&D or the my hunger for the family, right? Or my personal challenges. So this is a bottleneck for us.
Yes.
We are
Yes.
stuck. Example, if I ask any student, right, they will tell they come from so poverty, so humble family. For him to get a job and fulfill his stomach and his earn a bread and butter for family is more important than he putting efforts in R&D.
Yes.
So this is important. Now, how the only government can support it? How the government can support it? And although it a lot of initiatives are going on to sponsor the PhDs, right? And to sponsor the R&Ds. I really love seeing people who joining few IITs, few NITs, few as a research, are associated positions, right? Which are initiated recently. Even government is giving for a lot of lectures also to do projects. So this is a good initiative. But still, I encourage if we start getting a good scholarship or even a salary kind of situation for all the PhD students, because they stop thinking about their survival and they start putting the efforts, right? So even top scientist, I don't know, means with my limitation I'm telling, top scientist Bill Gates, top scientists like Einstein and all, these people are able to do it because their survival was taken care. They're not worried about any time about the survival. That's when the new thinking will come, the deeper we can go, right? We both, why
Yes.
I am here and why you are here, because our survival is taken care. We are not bothered about the survival. We are thinking of something new now, about either
Yes.
society, either our
Yes.
business. We are able to think this one. The same thing should happen in R&D. Take help this R&D, or even including the sports, right? So if the survival is taken care, these people can put a lot of efforts. Now, our question is, how can the government do this one? How can the college do this one? Or maybe capable students, if they have the opportunity of a job and if they have an opportunity of an R&D, right? If their survival is taken care, if they're not worried about the financial condition in the family, I would always suggest these people go for a R&D, go for higher studies. Do your
Yes.
math, right? Do your math in terms of the time, in terms of your energy, in terms of your return of investment, right? If all these calculations are good, go for the higher studies,
Yes.
right? Again, don't do, when I tell higher study, don't do brain drain, go for brain gain, right?
Correct.
so
Correct.
so recently I just read the news that China took back their 300 top engineers who are working in India, so that especially Foxconn. Now India has to provide that 300 resources immediately to just to move even the designs, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we should become the capable.
Yes.
Yes.
And one thing I would like to add here, that first of all, because in every sector, when we are making any moves in the career, the setback, the colonial setback in our mind is holding us back. Trust me, here Mabi today, with that particular point has come up, and I am speaking up, that Mavi also said, you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. Still in India, what I say, that in our economical structure, the basic living is not huge expensive as the glamorous countries, whether in east or west. So even if we go to our kirana shop, we can buy things, multiple things within 100 rupees. So it's an advantage, it's not a curse. So what is an advantage? You must see it as advantage. Your simple living as compared to a high living standard is a gift, it's not a curse. Obviously in next generation you should have a goal to achieve higher financial capabilities. That is good, that is needed, because uncertainty is everywhere. Because again, uncertainty is a constant in biological generations, from in one family, one generation to another. Yes, that would be there, medical need is there, but whatever you around you have as a country, like our Indian subcontinent, it's a gift. As you can see, Mavi said he is from a family, humble family, where ancestors were farmers. So at least there were some crops that is available to him at home. That was the gift. We must see the gift as a gift, not as a curse. Your achievement, the hunger for achievement should be there. It's a need of the hour, it's need of the generation. But whatever you have in your family, you should be grateful, you should be paying gratitude towards that, and you should be respectful for your elder generations. What that makes you humble, that cultivates humility in you, and that gives you energy to propel next. I think these are non-tech talks, but obviously we as a human being, we cannot differentiate a tech human being with our normal human being who has hunger. I think Mavi today has pulled a string today, and a note start keep playing in my mind, and automatically this came into in my mind. I had to express, because uh, you can see a real living example in front of you. Mabi is there, he's speaking towards you, and the way we are spending time today, it's not, it may not be entertaining you that much, but it's a valuable resource for the youngsters. They can take it, because these are resources that are non monetary, but they will help you to grow as a human being, grow as a person with humility, and you will be encouraged to create a chain of such people around you. That will be very necessary today to get out of the colonial hangover that we have. And with that note, I will be moving to the next question: that how much campusing you have done or planning to do in future, because students are very much fond of the word campusing. And in case you share some lights about how the hirings are done in the industry.
Okay. So hirings are done in the industry. It used to be before different, and now it is entirely different. Uh, Previously, what used to happen? We were, when we are in the industry, we not used to get a good candidates, right? So then we used to go to the colleges. Then we used to hire from the colleges. Now what's happening? The moment these product-based companies, especially product-based companies, they started realizing even in the colleges there is no good resources, right? The moment they are going and they are going and they're conducting their hiring process for 1 day 2 days, they end up getting not even one candidate, right? So all the product based company, they made a mandatory that anywhere we hire only the experienced candidate, especially 3+ years, right? You once you out of the colleges, so any product base you apply, so hardly you get any opportunity, right? Or so also, or other way, what the product based companies have implemented, right? They will not hire you immediately, but they will test you for 6 months to 1 year through their internship program. So they will come for the internship, so they will test you for 6 months or 1 year. If you are capable, they will convert you as a full time, right? Third case third case the colleges which have taken the advice from the institute, which are autonomous, right? So they have taken the advice from the companies, right? And they adopted their syllabus, right? So these colleges, the company will directly visit and they would hire them, right? So in rare cases, any colleges out of the blue will go and hire in the colleges. That is not happening, that might not happen, right? Campusing is reducing, that's what I'm assuming, because students are themselves, they are coming either after the training institute or after their, putting efforts after even graduating, right? uh, as per my understanding, either you should always try for doing good industry projects, so that companies will come, or your colleges should have the industry oriented syllabus by asking the industry set the syllabus. If not, hook or cook, try to get the internships. Start getting the internship from your fourth semester, fifth semester, whenever you have the holidays, summer holidays, try to get the internships. So these are the three channels you can enter into good product based companies, high paying jobs.
Great session, Mabi. And biasness towards the campusing, I think students have heard what Mabi has said about the campusing and how the scenario is changing slowly, and and the need of the hour. Another thing I would like to suggest here: the campusing is mostly for the I think the ITES companies like TCS, CTS, all those, because they need people in a huge quantity for their service projects. And for VLSI, as Mabi has suggested, here the depth of the knowledge is much more important, and that is the another reason that the campusing is different in, maybe, or the hiring is different in the VLSI domain. Either it is digital VLSI or analog VLSI, it is very very different from the conventional CTS TCS campusing. So we have to break that biasness also in the student mind. uh, Otherwise realistic picture will not be there. So either they will become uh, too much optimistic, or they will be too much pessimistic, but there should be a balance in the expectation. Not the point is going towards the pessimistic, not the point is going towards optimistic. It is lying somewhere in between in a realistic vision. And that's why this question was for Mabi, because realistic views help you to get realistic jobs. So you should be realistic at every step of your learning, transferring your learning into your career, and going ahead in your career. So I'll move on to the next question: that what's the basic skill set should an aspiring analog designer focus on today?
Yes. So basic skill sets depends where you are right now. If you are just starting in your career in your engineering, right? Either your first year, second year, third year, right? So the moment you decide the domain. So here, Mridul, if I say deciding the domain itself take more time. So once they decide the domain, which domain they want to be, so first of all they have to decide the core electronics domain. I want to become a core electronic engineer. Then in core electronic engineer, then they have to decide that I have to become a VLSI engineer. I'm a core semiconductor engineer. Then among again semiconductor engineer, they have to decide all with this front end design, back end design, digital, analog, physical design, verification. They have to decide one domain that they want to become a design engineer, that to analog design, right? So this decision itself will take lot of time for students until they decide they will be out of the college, right? So but if you could decide this as earliest as possible by third year, right? I would ask even by second year if you could decide. So this decision you can make only when you speak lot of alumni, like maybe seniors, mentors, 10, 20 people. When you speak, you will get an idea that okay, what is best for you, right? So once you made a decision that you want to become an analog IC design engineer, you should have a persistence until you achieve it, no matter what, right? So how should be the persistence? You start the moment you decide analog design engineer, that you want to become analog design engineer, start with the basics. Your fundamentals, there should not be any compromise in your fundamentals. So open the top books, right? So for analog IC design, I always refer analog Razavi book, or maybe I always suggest people just. I think I have written an article on NPTEL videos, how you can utilize all the NPTEL videos from the basics, circuit theory, network theory, then how you can device physics, how you can read it from device physics, MOS basics to an amplifier, single stage amplifier, operational amplifier. So up to operational amplifier is your basics. So your basics should be strong, right? And once your fundamentals are strong, then you start going for an implementation. The same single stage amplifier you start designing in your labs. Same your operational amplifier you start designing it in your tools, right? So once up to your operational amplifier all you are set, then you start going for industry projects, right? Either you're interested in BGR, you're interested in LDO, you're interested in PLL, right? ADC. So these SARDES are again, these are divided based on their frequency. If you're talking about the lower frequency in the analog domain again, right? So it comes more mostly related to power management unit is a low frequency. If you're talking about ultra high frequency more than 1 gigahertz, that comes under RFIC design. So again, if your mid frequency or like a little slight higher frequency is a SerDes one, or maybe you can choose the domain which is analog mixed signal, right? But for all these things, your basic starts and basics fundamentals should be strong, right? So the critical skills are your fundamentals. The moment your fundamentals are good, start going for the implementation, that is industry projects. Once but it's either way around, but by just seeing my basic skill, my resume will not get shortlisted. If I have done it very good basics up to op amp, right, still my resume will not get shortlisted. But although companies want it basics, but your resume will get shortlisted based on your projects, right? Your industry level projects, right? Your hands-on experience. So whatever you mention, okay, if you mention that I have hands-on design on this ADC, I have hands-on design on this PLL. Based on this project, your resume will get shortlisted. But end of the day, they would test you or they would ask you, they would interview on your basics, right? So students just they get caught up in the basics and they stay there only. My suggestion is first you, along with this basic, you learn in this project, put those in your resume. Those are your, those are most important for you, right? So even I have seen this, even after clearing the gate, doing the masters in IITs, right? These students are maybe your 9 pointers. They don't get analog IC design jobs. The reason is they don't have these projects. They don't have hands-on experience. The fundamentals are good. They have cleared the gate. The fundas are good. They studied from their top IITs. The only reason they don't have the hands-on experience or industry level projects, their resume is not getting shortlisted, right? It's
Yes.
also other way around. If you're tier 2, tier 3 colleges, it doesn't mean that your resume will not get shortlisted, right? So your resume will get shortlisted if you have these projects again, and it is possible. So to break down the myth that only IITians can enter into analog IC design, guys, the 70% of the analog designers are from non tier 1, either they're from tier 2 or tier 3. 70% analog design engineers are from tier 2 or tier 3. Only 10 to 20% are what you are telling is a tier 1 college. So that's what Mrudul, as you told, right? Once you have to
Yes.
decide,
Yes.
and it is possible.
Yes. Yes. I would like to resonate with you with some words that giving a example, right? Someone will give you a job as a mason, right? They construct the houses, right?
Hmm.
So until or unless you show them, okay, I have, say you are a young mason, you have done a small house, okay, so you can show that house to someone else and say, I'm a mason and I have done this small house, maybe one room house, and I can build it on that. How do you choose a mason? If he don't have a record, should you hire the mason?
No.
No. This is the same way. If you don't have a small project, why they consider you as an engineer? Mason is an engineer who makes a house with bricks and cements and sands by different ways of placing them, constructing them, making the measurement, everything from the blueprint. In the similar way, if you have not done the project, that means you have not done the blueprint of a work and constructed using the tools. So it's a virtual house you can relate as I compare to a mason. Why someone should you consider as a mason? And mason is under the civil engineering, right? It's a part of, and here it's a electronics engineering. So to get a job, you have to have some instance that you have created as a engineer, and that's the project is all about. I'd like, why I have said I would like,
This analogy is good.
right? So visualization, I have given the visualization that if you have not constructed anything that is visible, even if you have a talent, right? Someone is from a mason family and he have seen his father, uncle, everyone to construct the house. He has all the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge. Why that youngster will be considered as a mason, right? Why? He has to has a project on which he have constructed even a room with a single one house with a single room, right?
Yes.
If that mason has created that, the mason will be immediately hired for a bigger project. So in the same way, if you have constructed a small project and you have demonstrated your skill set as an engineer,
Mm.
you will be hired as an engineer. Literacy is there. You have to be very much literate about the basic
Mm.
skill set. Along with, you have to have a engineering instance. This is a technical word. Or you can take the example of a
Mm.
mason who is building a small house with one room as a real world analogy. So this is about hiring. And I would like to move over to the next question. Hope I resonated with you, Mabi, in the
No,
right
it
way.
is it's very good analogy what you gave, and it's like proof of concept. I have a concept
Yes.
just in the mind. So when you have that proof of concept as a project, right? And Mridul, if I say it takes a lot of energy. When I told you, when we do the hand calculation as per my theoretical understanding, so it might be a second order equation from Razavi book, maybe 180 nanometer, 2 micrometer. We use the same formula and we design it, right? But when we put the same thing in the tool, right, with the technology like 5 nanometer, 10 16 nanometer, 20, and so this id equation, current equation what we used is itself is entirely different. So what I am thinking is entirely different from what it is giving, right? Now by I do the first iteration, right, I do the second iteration, I do the third iteration, by third or fourth iteration, right, most of the this aspiring engineers, right, so they will start feeling that okay, analog design is not for me, I can't do it, I am not getting whatever I have used the same w/l ratio. They're not understanding you're not supposed to get it. The reason is you are getting using the second order here and your 10th order, what your cadence virtuoso tool might be taking, right? And by the time you get that intuition, the intuitive designing what you call, right, so that before you simulating whatever the w/l ratio calculated, before you implementing you should know what the changes would come, right? That can happen only after hundreds of simulations. Every simulation you see, okay, this change I made, okay, this output I got, this change I made, this. So by 10th simulation, right, this you understand, okay, this change I'm going to make, this is what the result I would get it. That's why experience counts, because this intuition you start getting it, right? So what the way you told, like the proof of concept you should have it. The moment
Yes.
smaller it might be, smaller proof of concept, there's nothing but a projects, right, in your resumes, then the other industry people can come and hire you.
Yes. 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 So I'd like to move on to the next question here. What is your advice to the working engineers? who stuck in verification or support roles and want to switch to analog design domain?
Uh, I think the percentage, if I take this percentage of people are more compared to the college freshers. The reason is because see, back they might have started their journey 10 years back, 5 years back, right? That time there was not opportunity. I agree, there was no good opportunity in semiconductor industry, and they were very well paid in the software industry or other domains. So because of one or the other reason, they didn't get the roadmap. They don't have the money to learn and invest and learn in the institutes, right? So they got the job. But now ever since, they have been every day they're thinking, I'm a core electronic engineer. I have studied 4 years electronics, I have studied 6 years electronics, but I'm doing my this software job or something job which they are not liking it, right? And their pay scales are like, if I compare a core design engineer and a non-core design engineer, it is almost 10 times more lesser. So when they are feeling this one, but is it possible, right? So it is possible. It just takes next 4 to 6 months. It not again takes you 4 5 years to switch the domain, right? Identify the domain where you want to be first, right? And identify somebody who can train you faster, right? Borrow their experience. So when, like, borrow their experience in a sense, if they're industry person, if they're ready to train you, mentor you, anything, right? So borrow their experience, invest money, learn fast, right? Then switch easily. If you're a software engineer, I read even article, even Bill Gates told this in openly, 85% of the engineers who are in the software domain would lose their job because of the AI revolution. If any young engineer, they're making the decision to their career, you have to think what would happen in next 5 years, right? So based on your present skills, right, spend 4 to 6 months, right, learn skills. Semiconductor industry is everything is about skills. Simple, in one word, semiconductor is equal to skills. How you gain these skills, it's up to you. So gain these skills in next 4 to 6 months. Even though you start as a fresher, next 2 years, whatever the salary you used to get it, you will get more than that, right? So transitioning, it's not impossible. Like transitioning from one domain to other domain, it is challenging because with your present challenges, your family might be dependent. You might have bought the house, right? So many challenges are there. But if you're not enjoying, what's the point in staying it there? So only courageous people have, conquered the world.
Yes,
The fear, or maybe fear has killed more dreams than the failures. So
correct.
that time you made that decision, right? You were correct. That time, whatever you made the decision, you were correct. So you should believe in that self, right? No regrets. But now, if you're not making the decision to upgrade, to upskill, or not, no, even if you're not ready to reskill, then it's your mistake, right? And it is possible. I told you, it takes only 4 to 6 months to learn any new skill.
Yes,
And semiconductor industry, never before, never before they have this kind of an opportunity. Why
yes.
Indian government is investing this much money? If they're not getting the ROI, do you think they would have invested? Why
No.
the private giants, they are investing this much money? They are knowing if they're investing 1 billion, they know that they will get 10 billion, right? And what's there in for me and what's there in for you, to ask question when they are investing, right? So it's time for you to make the decision. So it takes lot of time for making decision rather than learning it. I agree. So yeah, this is what my inputs, Mridul.
Great suggestion, because it's a very important thing when you are a aspiring person, I would say engineer. You have lot of clouds in your mind, and we have multiple guests from multiple domain to clear the clouds in your brain so that you have a sunny light in your brain and you can see everything clearly. So first thing first, the cloud has to get cleared, and here real people are advising you. They are suggesting the changes, and they are doing it live to you right now. Mavi is there today, and he have given lot of suggestions for the young generations. And we are having a very quality discussion, and it is very enriching discussion even for me also. So I'd like to move over to the next question, and that is how a student start thinking as an analog design aspirant from scratch. Can you give some pointers?
So it's related to mindset, I guess, this question, right? Uh, First, I always there is a book called Atomic Habits. So in the book Atomic Habits, what they tell is like it's about your first inner thing should change. It's not the outer thing. You will not get a result as an analog design engineer until and unless you start telling yourself first an identity that I am an analog designer, right? I think deep, I design deeper, right? So these are the affirmations I give to my mentees, like, I'm an analog design engineer, I think deep. So why even Steve Jobs could invent or do great in that Apple, because he used to tell an identity shift, think different, right? So as a design engineer, if you the moment you decide that you want to become a design engineer, change your identity, that you are a design engineer, you think deep, right? So when you think deep, then you can question anything in a deeper way, right? So think deep, design deeper, right? So you keep telling this one, it's again then lot of patience and persistence should be there for an analog design engineer. You can't create this overnight, you can't learn this overnight, you can't implement this overnight, but you can do it, but only it's a consistency matter. But you can learn any software coding maybe in next 1 month. You can learn any even digital stuffs in maybe next 1 month, right? So but since it is complex, it takes time for you to learn, right? So yeah, this is the only thing I can say, that start believing that you are a designer. You Once you are a designer, you think different. Any problem it comes to you, either it's a design or anything, you take a pause and ask one question: what are the 10 ways I can solve this problem? So you want to improve the gain of an amplifier, right? You want to increase the accuracy of your BGR, bandgap reference, right? So you don't know what are the 10 ways I can improve the bandwidth of this block. What are the 10 ways I can reduce the offset of this one? What are the 10 ways I can reduce the noise, right? So when you ask this 10 ways, right, you get at least 10 ways. If you implement one or two, so it will be a good solution for you, right? So start thinking as a designer. So Mridul, when many students I get, right, so for me it's not about the challenge of technical technical teaching. It's about the mindset. I have to make them shift. It is
Yes.
possible, and think like a designer. This is the difference between a validation engineer. This is the difference between a layout engineer. This is the difference between any software engineer. Why designer is more valued? Because they think. Anything you are doing with your mind, anything with you are doing with your mind, is like you are creating something new.
So critical thinking should be there. Means
Yes.
yes, it, it doesn't mean, okay, let me rephrase my words, because the younger generation, they, because English is not our mother language in India. Different parts, people have different mother language. By critical
Yes.
thinker, I say you think critically and not doing criticism of any other people. So the meaning should be very clear. You are a critical thinker, immediately you get a judgmental and you think, okay, let's start criticizing people and I'll become a critical thinker. No, it is not that. Critical thinker means you are thinking on a problem to how to solve it in a critical manner. You are trying to meet every ends, and you are approach one. If approach one fails, go to approach two fails, go to approach three. This is the way of critical thinking. And that should, I rephrased it the word because misunderstanding will destroy you, right? And the real understanding will make you enormous powerful. Yeah,
True.
because our students, they might get a wrong feeling. That's why I have just clarified. And I'll move on to the next question, is that what parts of the college textbooks of an analog aspirant, that is analog design aspirant, must not overlook? That means they should emphasize and go through it carefully.
Yes.
Even the exam is over, they can go back to the book and read them if they are truly uh, inclined towards the analog design, and along with any book suggestion, because in our channel we get a lot of question about the book suggestion. So it will be better if from a real domain, if you can suggest them books, because students are very fond of books, not for the marks but for understanding.
Uh, this is a big challenge, Mrudul, right now. Why this is a big challenge, right? Any student right now, if you see, if they're preparing for their exam, preparing for their interview, or preparing for anything, right? Their learning has become so surface level, right? When I tell surface level, just they go to the chat GPT AI and they'll type, they'll get that answer. They think that is the best answer. They think that they learned the deeper way, right? That's it. Either the, because of the era of information, right, students are not getting, getting stick to one source of learning. If you're an audio learner, you learn from the, you're a visual learner, you learn from videos. If you're a reader, you read from the books, right? It's up to you. The information is available. But my only suggestion is, this all chat GPTs, is all YouTubes, the surface level PDFs, you will not get the knowledge deeper. Please. You will get the knowledge deeper only when you start studying the mentioned textbook and you solve the problems after you reading the textbooks. Or maybe you are, if you're fond of the videos, you choose the best video available in the digital, either NPTEL videos, right? Or maybe Razavi videos from the YouTube, right? And you stick to those, right? Because these are so structured way, they have planned so much to do these things, right? And when it comes to books, again, you must read 10 books, I agree. But as a fresher, should I refer 10 books? No. As a fresher, stick to one video lectures, anything it might be. Stick to one book until you master in that, right? So until once you master, right, then you start referring. Once you are in the industry, you can refer tens of books to get the more knowledge or implementation challenges. Okay, so the best book which I referred is for Razavi, because Razavi book, it has an understanding where an aspiring beginner should have, right? If at all you want in a story manner, in a better understanding, then Cedra Smith, the first 4 chapters are really good for aspiring analog design engineers, right? So I think you can start with these books. And if you want to refer NPTEL videos, I referred either Nagendra Krishnapura sir videos when I was doing, or maybe even Shanti Pavan's, right? So anything which suits for you. So if they are worked in the industry and they are giving you NPTEL videos, they're amazing. So you can stick to one source, right, until you finish it.
Great suggestion, Mabi. And I think students who are listening and they always ask for books, they got a seed thought or couple of seed thoughts from where you can start in the analog domain with respect to the books. So I'll move on to the next question, is that in the age of AI, it is, I think the AI started long back and it has surfaced as a giant right now, maybe in last couple of years. So with that age of AI, what lies in the future of analog electronics from chip to PCB, the entire pathway?
So Yeah, I mean, maybe if you alter the question, so does AI replaces analog designers? So this is a common question I keep getting. But see, what's the difference between AI and with respect to the domains, right? Anything which we get the feedback faster, right? AI improves on it, especially on data. Either I am writing a coding on RTL, Verilog, very anything, right? So if I'm writing a coding, when I execute it, right, I get the result immediately within a minute or two, right? So if it is failed, then again I feedback the same error to correct the data. So this feedback cycle is faster based on my data. But when it comes to a hardware, when it comes to semiconductor industry, when it comes to analog, right, we are designing something, right, and we get the feedback, right, after 2 3 years, right, because one design cycle until it goes to silicon, it takes minimum 1 year or 2 years, right? Since this feedback cycle is slow and you involving the AI is lesser, but we must adopt AI to reduce the design cycle. We must adopt AI to avoid the redundant mistakes, right? And but where this AI would work everything, this AI would work everything only again end of the day in the hardware, right? So hardware engineers or semiconductor engineers, you are irreplaceable until the AI creates these hardwares, right? When it comes to analog engineers, right? Analog itself, it is a non-linearity, right? It has so much of complexity in the noise, right? So and analog, predicting the analog is so challenging, right? So do you think AI would do this one, right? So example, to make one PMIC to take us maybe $10 million. Do you think a investor or a company will gamble with the AI when they're designing this kind of chips, right? They don't usually do it, but we as a design engineers, we should adopt it. So again, for AI, the analog is the heart of any chip, so it cannot be easily replaced until we are seeing something. Even this communication, touch, feel, smell, right, everything is again is analog, unless and until as long as we are living it, analog is required. Even if the all the computation what the computer is doing, either 0 or 1 in the binary, that even can move to even analog, or even analog quantums, right? Yes. Excuse. Over to you.
Yes. Yeah. So, yes, the question was on broader sense because I have not asked the question. I'd like to rephrase and clear my mindset here because
Hmm.
when we ask the question that what will be the future, you have answered it correctly. And the biasness of people is the uncertainty that whether AI is going to eat up the job. Now, the same question came to people's mind maybe 30 years ago or 35 years ago when the computers were into the picture. Before that,
Yes.
people used to have typewriters. They are using manual calculators and all to do the task. What we did? We learned the computer first, the Windows 3X or the DOS. Then we learned the Office. Then gradually we learned Microsoft Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows Millennium. Then came Windows Vista. Along with that line, the Office also get upgraded. That is a basic Office is a basic software that people use in Office every and in accounting Tally was there
Yes.
for animations. I think Maya was there. Maya was a software very popular for VFX, and these things keep on advancing. Now I would suggest computer itself was a threshold or a turning point, and that human mind is so much fertile, right? Since we are defining it as an artificial intelligence, we are actually projecting an image of a robot that is equally capable of a human. However, here is a computation facility or computer, we can say, because I am saying computation facility because today the AI has big server rooms and lot of GPUs, right?
Yes.
So what happened, as I have said, gradually over the introduction after computers, that similar journey will be going ahead, but in a different scale. Because today who are millennials, today who are Gen Z, right? I am a millennial, so I have seen the things getting stuck, and I remember there was a millennium bug, the time when that 1900 era will end and 2000 will start.
Yeah.
So every bank, every government, non-government sector, everyone is in fear that what will happen as it touches 2000, because the internally the computers were trained for 1990 up to 1999. What will
Yes.
happen when it switches to 2000? And even with lot of fear across the entire world, we have entered into the millennium. The bug was not there, the bug did not had much effect. So similarly, I witnessed that thing, and I'd like to say that at different timelines, people had different questions, different thoughts, and different uncertainties about their existential crisis. But this is not that, because every time as the new power of computation comes, more advanced softwares are developed.
Yes.
AI, as a combination of software and hardware, will give you more computational power, and that will help you to think in a different way.
Correct.
So when I joined the VLSI, maybe in 2010, smartphones were not that much popular. Maybe two people out of 10 people they were having smartphones, and other people were having the Nokia feature phones or the Samsung feature phones. Now that over 10 years now have changed, the ratio is reversed. Out of 10 people, 8 people have smartphone and 2 people are using feature phone. So did the technology helped in progression or retrogression? So I even yesterday night
Yes.
I was watching the movie called I Robot with my daughter. So there was the concept that the concept of I will robot and all that. So uh, we have that fear, and that I Robot movie was published in around the millennium, I think.
Hmm.
I had the DVD and watching yesterday with my daughter. The internet was down yesterday in our area, so what to watch? So I bring out a whole DVD and I watched with my daughter. Means consequently, I watched it yesterday. So in case those are having the fear, they can watch the iRobot movie. uh, it is, I think, from the millennium 2001 to 2002 3, around that timeline. I don't exactly remember the timeline. And that fear we have still within us. So however, that fear should not prevail, and we should go in a direction where the things are much more practical, in the sense, as Mavi had said, that we will not gamble IC that will cost $1 million to be designed entirely by AI,
It's
because the
true.
industry does, yeah, doesn't gambles. So
Yes.
there is a leaf level knowledge. As a student, I consider you as a leaf level knowledge, and when you come to the tree level knowledge, which is a industry, it will not grow fruits which are gambles. They will not gamble on the fruits.
Yes.
So as a leaf level, as an engineer, you should be well skilled to handle the fruits of the AI in the tree of the industry. Fear should go away, the first thing. And with that thing, I think I resonated with Mabi, and maybe in a different words. Because why I use different words, it's not a difference of opinion, but it's to cater each and everyone. Someone might get directly impacted from what Mabi said, and as I translate Mabi's thought into my own, someone else might get impacted, because Humans say, yeah, if I show my hand, right, five fingers of five heights. At mental height, people has also different heights
Yes,
of people. So it's very difficult to transfer the thought, and it is the most difficult thing to transfer the thought from person to another person, because you do not know whether you are transferring to the person of equal height, or lower height, or a upper height.
it's true. It's true.
And we are using electronic media, and we cannot see anybody right now with as a flesh and blood, and it is
Yes.
transmitted electronically. So I spent couple of words. I stopped Mabi, and I rephrased the words which Mabi said in a different language, in a different angle, so that the entire capsulated message that Mabi and me today are presenting about the AI should go in a right view. So I would move to the next question, that any suggestion towards the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 colleges want to develop basics of analog design in syllabus. So do you suggest any changes to the syllabus or the outlook, or anything, any addition, subtraction, or anything?
Uh, See, I think tier one they are exceptionally doing. The reason is they are associated with industry, and in most of the tier one colleges, one or the other industry incubations are available. The moment their incubations are available, so the college has access to the industry resources, and industry has access to the college resources, right? So if the tier 2 colleges can invite any startup companies to have the incubation in their college, is the best thing. So it gives lot of confidence for the industry to invest their resources into the college, because college is ready to take all the suggestion from the industry, and college also can be reliable on these industries because they are putting efforts to put in incubations, right? So one is, if possible, ask for the incubations tier 2 tier 3 colleges, and if not, at least ask your alumni, invite your alumni to form your syllabus, right? So this is the best thing. Third one, if you want the particular companies want you to visit, right? So go to those companies and tell what should we train, teach our students in next 1 to 2 years. They will give their projects, plans, skills requirement in next 1 to 2 years. It's not that I sit here and decide what this college should implement. So if you can go, and so if this company should know this, you guys are teaching this syllabus, right? And you are ready to modify according to them, right? And third one, yes, colleges which are not upgrading their syllabus as per the industry needs, and not giving the subjects what the as per the industry needs, has to change rapidly. Some or the other way, either collaborate with the institutes, I collaborate with the C2S programs, right? Put your students in the hackathons what conducting by the governments, right? So your student doesn't know, but as a teacher, you guys will have this information. You start distributing it. Okay.
Great suggestion, because um, again, I'll say that there can be cloud in the mind of people, and the cloud should be cleared. Once the cloud is cleared, the sunlight will come in, and it will make uh, bright day and bright future. So with that note, we'll move to the next question. What would you say a student feeling lost or underconfident about their future in the industry?
Students get lower confidence because of the uncertainties. If they are not certain about their job, if they're not certain about their salary, if they're not certain about the company job role, right? That's when they get insecure, right? So how can you get again the same lot of information, right? That can happen only when you discuss, decide, with the other people. You sitting after your engineering and listening to your parents, listening to your confused classmates, Mridul, students take suggestion from their own classmates because where they themselves are confused, or maybe students take suggestions from their parents. I agree. Means it's not like I love my mother, I love my parents, but do I take career advice from my parents? Right? No, right? So one suggestion, if I have, listen to somebody who is there already where you want to be, and borrow their experience, borrow their mistakes, right? Borrow their roadmaps. That's the best thing.
Great. So we will the final question that what does the phrase building the analog ecosystem of India mean to you personally and professionally? So that is the last question for today.
Okay. What it means to me personally, I told you when I started my career, right? Nobody were there to train, and nobody were there even to mentor. This hampered a lot of people like me, or like even it is happening now also. Right? So if you want to achieve, that 1947 to 2047, that 100 years as a developing India to developed India, right? So deep tech is the main important thing. The biggest wars are happening in the electronics, right? The people who controls the semiconductor industry controls the world, right? So my bigger vision is to develop lots of talent so that we make an amazing thing and we make the developed India. So my bigger vision, what I want to contribute for the country, and personally how I want to do this one is by training people, right? Upskilling them, reskilling them, giving a roadmap, webinar, seminar, anything which is from my side, I will be doing and I have been doing it. Yes.
Great. So I think we are out of questions and viewers' question I will be flashing. So the
Sure.
first thing here, Yashwant Reddy says, "Hello, sir. Can we get into VLSI after 2 years of embedded systems software?" That means you are in the embedded system domain. So which topics we need to be good at? So
Okay.
Mabi, can you?
So you are an embedded system engineer and you want to become a VLSI design engineer. Okay. First, whatever you have done for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, no matter what, can you connect these skills to the new domain? As an embedded designer, you might be or you will be good at coding, right? So C, C program, everything, even skill scripting, automations, right? So lot of domains which are there in the VLSI, you should find out those domains. Small example, you're an embedded software engineer, you have very good coding skills. So the other coding skills here are RTL coding, right? Verifications, right? So even some part of AMS verification, right? So once you decide that you want to become RTL designer, so the same logic works here also. You have to just bridge this gap of 2 to 3 months or 3 to 4 months, some hands-on skill development to become a semiconductor VLSI engineer.
Yeah, from the same person, we had a question later. So, sir, in the long run,
Hmm.
can an embedded software engineer career be in a good place?
Yes. So again, I attended one more conference in Silicon Synergy. So there I met a group of people who are embedded experts. So anyway, so this software or maybe hardware, and then comes the embedded software, right? Who whatever we are doing in the embedded, if whatever we are doing in the semiconductor, so the hardware will come. But who develops the firmware? Who develops the firmware is an embedded engineer, embedded software engineer, right? Until and unless when these hardwares are there, an embedded engineer is important. Embedded domain is really important, right? So there is a bright future as per my understanding. In long run, yes, there is a good future even for the embedded engineer.
Great, great answer. I think Yashwant, you have received all the answers from our expert. And here one one comment. It's not a question. So Parth says 70%. Then I have some chances. So I think it was the point when you were talking about the digital and analog ratio. So I think he is pointing towards the digital. So he got his answer. So I will hide it again. I will flash another question that has just came here. So LDOs become DLDOs and PLL becomes DPLL. So maybe in future all analog become digital, right? So your expert views.
Yes. Till now we used to focus more on the analog side. Now, if I want to utilize this analog and make more precision oriented, right? So we can increase the digital implementation and do more calibrations, do more trimmings, right? And that's what the possibility they're talking about. LDOs as a DLDO are implementing, controlling or using the digital to make more analog efficient. So this is possible. This is what would happen. But end of the day, again, you should have a strong basics in analog, and learning digital is you can learn in overnight.
Great, great. I think Aditya got your answers here. So and here another question. It could be a bit difficult, but I would like to bring it on. And here it is. Someone, Mr. V for VLSI, said that I thought this channel promotes some good instruction, but so in industry there is a general says don't use the but, use and instead. And when you are saying your expectations, so we have our open email, that is connect@techsimplifiedtv.in. In case you are expecting someone to be there, you can write us a mail. So we bring different people from different domains with different spectrum of knowledge. Today Mabi is there. Before, in the similar domain, we had Mike Engelhardt, who is a very old technical veteran. Even he started working before I was born. Trust me, as an engineer. So that senior person, he has developed LT Spice. Now he is developing another tool called Q Spice, which can simulate both Spice and Verilog together in the same tool. So he had given us an interview. I think it was second or third, maybe fourth episode of our semiconductor podcast. So we bring on here very experienced industry veterans, and your expectation. I don't know whether you have watched that particular episode or not. We have discussed a various vivid domain of the analog and the analog mixed signal in the Mike Engelhart's episode. So set your expectation right is the thing. Your expectation you can share us in the connect@techsimplifiedtv.in, that which domain expert you want to bring it on. Another way, we have an open invitation to come to the Semiconductor Podcast shared in our LinkedIn, and also I can share that business@techsimplifiedtv.in. If you are willing somebody to come here to speak, it's a open platform. You can come through the email. We have a standard procedure of um, for the guest to be beamed at a particular time. So you can uh, have your expectation meet, because more and more we go towards a deeper in the semiconductor side, and in various domains we have talked, and where various veterans we have talked, and we have also brought ET10, who was the architect of the Malaysia's growth in the semiconductor. So we are talking about different veterans. So this is a platform. We are bringing on a lot of people in the semiconductor who are real life people who are making real life impact. And your expectation you should convey us through email, and always welcome, because I understand and I believe critics are there who help us to grow.
Yes,
So
it's true.
so you are welcome. Send your suggestions to connect@techsimplifiedtv.in. Any guest you want to have here. So, Mabi, I would like to formally thank you today for being in the session, and we are out of questions now. So, and the audience who have been listening patiently, and thank you very much, for watching the episode, and thank you all the audience who will be watching it later on the replay. So, thank you, Mabi, again for coming today to the Semiconductor Podcast. We'll conclude here, and bye.
Thank you so much for inviting, and it was really good fun to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah, it
Thanks.
is. It is a platform for us who are in the electronics and VLSI domain. That because the domain is huge. It starts from a chip design, go to PCB, go to firmware. Everyone is there. It's a huge domain. So it's our place, our talk, and our show.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You're
Thank you.
most welcome. Thank you. And the audience, we are saying bye from both sides, me and Mavi, saying you bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.